From a pencil stuck in a man's head for 15 years to someone who forgot their dentures inside their esophagus, plus a disturbing spider infestation. Here are 10 amazing things found inside the human body. Number 10. Pencil in the head. There have been all kinds of strange things found inside the human body, but I bet you didn't expect the Joker's pencil to be one of them. The body is a miraculous vessel, and there are certain things you're not supposed to put inside of it. For example, there was a man in 2013 who had to get a pencil removed from his head after it had been stuck for 15 years. He had allegedly been suffering from headaches, and when he went to the doctor to find out why his head hurt so badly, they found a pencil lodged from his sinus all the way to his pharynx, basically right in the center of his face. The man was 24 years old when this pencil was discovered, so it must have gotten put in his head during childhood. The man said that he had no idea how the pencil could have gotten stuck inside of his head, but at least doctors were able to get it out. The pencil was 4 inches long, and it had been causing headaches, sinus problems, and worsening vision in one of his eyes. Geez, how is that even possible to not know about a pencil in your face? Number 9. Spider in the skin. The last thing anyone wants to find inside their body is a spider, and yet that's exactly what happened when a man from Australia went on vacation to Bali. A tropical spider somehow managed to burrow into his body, and the guy woke up in the morning with a mysterious red trail going from his chest to his belly button like a giant scar. At first, doctors thought it was an insect bite, but they later discovered that there was a spider living in his stomach. It then needed to be surgically removed by a doctor. However, it's important to note that the story of this Australian guy has never been verified, and many commentators have cast doubt on what exactly happened. It's a little unrealistic to believe that the spider crawled down his chest all the way to his stomach, as that would be an incredible feat of strength on the part of the spider. Unfortunately, all we have to go on is the account of the young Australian man and the photographs of his bubbling scar tissue. But what do you think? True or false? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We have lots more videos coming soon. Number 8. A hunger for rocks. Sometimes people eat strange things. More often than not, this results in serious medical issues. You can't just eat rocks or coins all day and not have something happen to your body. But one woman is defying all the odds. According to a recent report from the Huffington Post, a care worker has admitted to eating more than 3,000 pounds of rocks in her life, and she's never had any medical issues. This woman's name is Teresa Widener, and whenever she felt sad or troubled in her life, she would grab some rocks and start to snack. The habit was so powerful that she would consume about 3 pounds of rocks a week. And while nothing bizarre was ever found inside her body, it's an absolutely insane story. This woman has 2 children and has been eating rocks on a daily basis for at least 20 years. But there is some good news. Teresa has a new husband who's apparently helping her to kick the habit. Her new husband makes her happy enough that she doesn't need to chew on rocks constantly, but she still has some bad days when she goes out into the garden, collects a couple of stones, and starts to chew. Number 7. Magnets and steel balls. In Indiana, an 8-year-old girl swallowed 30 magnets and steel balls that she got from a toy in her house. She then needed emergency surgery to save her from death. According to CBS News, the magnets and steel balls caused 8 wounds in her intestines that were like gunshots. The balls and magnets literally punctured her intestines in 8 different spots. The girl apparently ate the metallic pieces because they looked like candy. Unfortunately for her, this candy landed her 2 weeks in the hospital. But her parents didn't even know there was anything wrong for 2 full days. It wasn't until the girl started experiencing horrible pain in her stomach that her parents finally took her to the hospital. And that was when doctors discovered what had happened. The magnets attracted the steel balls, and this caused them to rip apart her intestines as if someone had opened fire on her with a tiny machine gun. The child has since made a recovery and is lucky to be alive. Number 6. Over $50,000 worth of jewelry. Doctors in India were absolutely shocked when they operated on a woman's stomach and removed over $50,000 worth of coins and jewelry. The woman was rushed to the hospital after suffering from severe abdominal pain for over a week and throwing up after every meal. Scans revealed a massive clump of metal inside her stomach, and when doctors finally opened her up, they discovered 69 chains, 80 earrings, at least 90 coins, several nose rings, a handful of lockets, 4 keys, a watch dial, and even 5 anklets. Most of the jewelry was crafted from copper or brass, but some items were actually gold. When all was said and done, she had 3.5 pounds worth of jewelry taken from inside her body. How did it happen? Well, the girl whose stomach was opened made no comments about the situation, but it's pretty clear she had an addiction to stealing and eating jewelry. What became of the girl and the jewelry has not been reported, but hopefully she's learned her lesson after this gruesome incident. And hopefully someone sold all that jewelry for a juicy profit. Number 5. Toothbrush in the stomach. Imagine this. You're brushing your teeth. Your mouth is full of toothpaste, and before you know it, you've swallowed your entire toothbrush. If you can't imagine it, that's because it's a ridiculous situation that shouldn't happen to anyone. But it happened to an Indian man who'd been brushing his teeth in 2020 when he accidentally swallowed his entire toothbrush. And this wasn't a tiny toothbrush either. It was a full toothbrush, just like any adult tooth cleaning instrument. How on earth could you accidentally swallow that? But that's what he did, and it needed to be surgically removed. The guy apparently felt no pain or discomfort, but he did go to the hospital to get the situation assessed. Even though it was just a toothbrush, doctors said that he could die if it stayed in his stomach. The surgery was done quite quickly, and the man went on with his life. But still, how on earth could you accidentally swallow a 6-inch toothbrush? Number 4. Death by latex. In another bizarre swallowing accident, a dementia patient at a nursing home ate latex gloves and died. This is the most tragic story in the video today. James Griffin, 67 years old at the time, died in the hospital after swallowing a latex glove. The care workers tried to save Mr. Griffin's life, but there was simply nothing that could be done. The nurses were supposed to watch him constantly, but somehow the patient managed to get the latex glove into his mouth without anyone seeing. He then choked on it. The glove became jammed in his airway. Despite how hard the care workers tried, they just couldn't get the glove out of the man's body. It was like he swallowed a paper bag. Number 3. A secret nail. Our next story is not quite as sad. In fact, it's a lot like the first story we talked about where the guy had a pencil stuck in his head. But rather than a pencil, this man from Russia had a nail stuck inside of his skull. He ended up at the doctor's office complaining about hearing loss. And after they took some x-rays of his head, they discovered a huge 2-inch construction nail lodged not only into his skull, but also into his brain. According to the New York Post, the man had no recollection of ever having a nail shoved into his brain. He said that he must have forgotten about the accident because he was probably drunk at the time while working on a home renovation project. He supposedly felt no pain even in the days following the incident. But in any case, doctors ended up needing to remove the nail through a very tense surgery. The procedure was precarious because it could have ended with the man dying. The nail was just a few inches from his major arteries, and one wrong move would have ruined his brain for life. The nail was eventually removed during a 3-hour operation, and the man is now in good health. Number 2. Dentures in the esophagus. 8 days after a man lost his dentures, he found them in an extremely unusual place. This happened in India, and the man had apparently ingested a large part of his denture while suffering from an epileptic seizure in the middle of his sleep. This guy's case was so strange that it was actually published in a medical journal. The unnamed man had not even been aware that he was suffering seizures during the night, even when he woke up one morning and discovered a piece of his denture on the floor and the other piece missing. He still went on with life as usual. It wasn't for a few more days that he began to have trouble swallowing. Then he developed a cough, his chest started to feel tight, and he ended up needing to see the doctor. According to Live Science, he arrived at the hospital in December of 2014. By then, he was pretty certain he had swallowed his dentures in the middle of the night. He ended up being 100% correct. A chest x-ray revealed that the denture was lodged in his esophagus, which is the muscular tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. It's a pretty dangerous situation, as the denture had the possibility of rupturing a hole in the wall of his esophagus, which could have been fatal. But luckily, the doctors were able to remove the foreign object, and the man went on with his life. Number 1. Scissors in the throat. They say that running with scissors can be dangerous, but apparently so can laughing with scissors. Surgeons recently had to save a man's life after he accidentally swallowed a pair of scissors while laughing. According to the Daily Mail, Kong Lin had been holding a small pair of nail scissors and using them as a toothpick when his friend told a joke. He laughed incredibly hard and accidentally inhaled the scissors, which became lodged inside of his throat. He ended up needing to go to the emergency room, where doctors said he arrived pale, sweating, and in serious agony. Kong Lin also had blood and saliva coming out of his mouth and couldn't swallow. X-rays were done quickly, and surgeons had to operate on the man immediately using local anesthetic only. They couldn't knock him unconscious, or the scissors might have slipped deeper into his throat. That means there was a seriously uncomfortable 30 minutes of surgery that Kong Lin was awake for. But it was worth it in the end. The doctors got the scissors out of his throat, and hopefully Mr. Lin thinks twice before laughing with scissors ever again. Which of these bizarre stories is the most shocking? How do you feel about people randomly eating foreign objects? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and be sure to come back soon for another awesome video right here on American Eye.